Remember when you wanted to stop time during an embarrassing moment? Well, you can thank the queen of low-budget, weird sci-fi for that. Today, we're going to look closely at one of the strangest sitcoms that still ran for 4 seasons. It's a show where teenage problems meet alien superpowers, all shown with wonderfully clunky 80s special effects. And before we start, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.
Okay, let's dive into the story of this strange show. Out of This World started in 1987, a time when TV networks seemed ready to say yes to almost anything except for home video. It was created by Bob Booker, not Barker, and John Boney. This show took the normal coming-of-age sitcom and made it into something extremely weird indeed. Evie Garland, played by Maureen Flannigan, finds out on her 13th birthday that she is half alien, because apparently pimples and awkward crushes weren't enough trouble. In addition to her usual teenage problems, she can stop time by touching her 2 index fingers together. But that's not everything.
Fingers, do your stuff.
Man.
Her long-lost alien dad, Troy, starts sending her parenting advice through a glowing crystal cube from his home planet, Antares. Her mom, Donna, played by Donna Pesco of Saturday Night Fever fame, had been raising her like a normal human. She had no idea she would soon spend the next few years dealing with a teenager who had the power to stop time. But what's a little cosmic chaos when you're just trying to survive the 80s? And here's the kicker. Donna knew Troy was talking through the cube, but she could not hear or talk to him herself. Only Evie could. That's right, Donna was co-parenting with someone she could not even talk to. Oh, so your father thinks that's okay? Well, tell him I said just forget about it. Evie's powers often led to funny and crazy situations. For example, she might freeze time during an embarrassing moment or use her gleeping ability to make objects appear out of thin air. And those were not her only powers. Evie could make objects appear out of nowhere through her gleeping power and eventually gain the ability to teleport instantly from one place to another. She could even unfreeze people by touching them while time was stopped. Having a teenager with an arsenal of supernatural powers makes it really hard to set rules. The phrase, "wait until your father gets home," takes on a whole new meaning when your dad is literally just a voice from another planet.
How did we rejoin, Dad?
I guess it was due to the most important force in the universe.
Now, the start and network problems of Out of This World were strange. It originally aired on NBC as part of a failed experiment called Prime Time Begins at 7:30. It was meant to fill the half hour before prime time with sitcoms nobody wanted. Most of the other shows in this lineup were big failures. Against all odds, Out of This World lasted longer than all other shows. It moved to weekend syndication and found its real audience, kids and teens who had nothing better to do on a lazy Saturday afternoon. Critics roasted the show, and one review even called it possibly the worst sitcom ever made. But despite this, the show ran for a surprising 96 episodes over 4 seasons. That's what the power of a young audience was like before the internet, baby. Back then, your only viewing choices were this show or helping your parents clean the garage. And of course, we all chose the show. The cast of well-known faces and hidden voices of Out of This World had some really talented actors working with, let's be honest, very strange material. Maureen Flannigan brought Evie to life with the perfect mix of wide-eyed innocence and teenage frustration. That was no small task when half her scenes involved pretending to talk to a glowing cube. She was just 13 when the show started, and Flannigan carried the series on her shoulders, reacting to special effects that wouldn't exist until long after filming stopped. Donna Pesco played Evie's mom, who was also named Donna. A funny coincidence that makes you wonder if the casting director just said, "Hey, you already know that name, so let's use it." As if running a household with a half-alien teenager wasn't enough, her character also ran the school for gifted children that Evie attended. That made her both mom and principal, a double dose of authority that even superpowers couldn't beat. During the show's 2nd season, Pascal became pregnant, which caused a small continuity problem for a character whose husband was supposedly light years away.
That's him. That's your father's voice. Dad, is that you?
The solution was the classic sitcom trick of close-ups, baggy clothes, and hiding her behind oversized furniture and suspiciously large props. Nothing says creative problem-solving like a woman holding bigger and bigger grocery bags for 10 episodes straight. Joe Alaskey played Uncle Beano Froelich, Donna's goofy, well-meaning brother who gave much-needed comic relief with his physical comedy and half-baked schemes. As Evie's clumsy uncle, he was the perfect contrast to Donna's responsible parenting style. The kind of guy who would encourage you to use your alien powers to get concert tickets while your mom wasn't looking. He was also the only other character besides Donna who knew about Evie's alien heritage, making him both comic relief and confidant, a role he handled with all the grace of a bull in a china shop that somehow didn't break anything important. Doug McClure played Mayor Kyle Applegate, a former Hollywood actor turned small-town politician whose character seemed to lose IQ points every season. What started as a slightly dim-witted local official slowly became a full-blown cartoon character, the kind of guy who would lose a debate with a goldfish and still be confused about how he lost. And then there's the show's most famous cast member whose face never appeared on screen. The voice of Evie's alien father, Troy, came from none other than Burt Reynolds. Yes, you heard that right, Burt Reynolds, one of the biggest movie stars in the world at the time. Reynolds insisted that his name be left out of the credits, recording all his lines as a personal favor to series co-creator Bob Booker.
So what do you think I should do about Chris?
Well, you won the bet, didn't you? I'd say it's time to collect.
He reportedly recorded a whole season's worth of dad advice in just one session. A reminder that even A-list stars sometimes have to phone it in, literally.
Now, if there's one thing that defined 80s sci-fi TV, it was the art of making special effects with a budget that wouldn't even cover a third grader's science fair volcano. Take Evie's time-stopping power, the show's signature effect. How did they make it look real? Simple. They just had the cast freeze in place while the camera kept rolling, then let Maureen Flannigan walk around the set. Add a cartoonish boing sound effect and voila, instant time manipulation. James Cameron was probably shaking in his boots, I'm sure.
Evie, are you all right? Evie, what's the matter?
Then there's the opening credits, a mix of Evie doing her best Breakfast Club freeze frame and space shots taken from Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Why make new space footage when your perfectly good B-roll is just sitting in the vault?
And let's not forget Troy's glowing communication cube. Basically, it was a plastic box with a flashing light bulb inside, playing Burt Reynolds' disembodied voice with a cheap echo effect. It's like if Siri was made by someone whose only tech experience was putting batteries in a flashlight.
What is it?
Damned if I know. I've been trying to figure it out for 13 years. Oh, it's never done that before. Or that.
Happy birthday, Eve.
That's him. That's your father's voice. Dad, is that you? Is it really you?
It's me, birthday girl.
But here's the thing. Kids at home loved it. The simple effects felt oddly possible, leading to lots of playground attempts to freeze time by touching our index fingers together. We may laugh now, but back then we really thought we just needed more practice to make our fingers work. There was something truly magical about effects simple enough that you could imagine doing them yourself, even if that imagination ended after the 50th failed attempt to freeze your teacher in the middle of a lesson. Now that we've talked about the show's bargain basement special effects, let's talk about the actors brave enough to appear alongside them for a low-budget syndicated show about a half-alien teenager. Out of This World managed to get a surprisingly impressive list of guest stars. The guest list included Scott Baio, Fred Willard, Richard Mall, Norman Fell, Ruth Buzzy, and David Doyle, a mix of classic TV faces and comedy legends who lent their talents to this quirky sci-fi sitcom. It's like they were picking names out of a hat labeled available TV stars whose agents weren't paying attention. Tom Bosley, one of America's favorite TV dads thanks to his role as Howard Cunningham on Happy Days, even appeared as Troy's father, Zellick. Because if you're casting the grandfather of a half-alien girl with time-freezing powers, why not pick a TV dad known for his calm, all-American wisdom? Then there were the regular supporting characters, who ranged from mildly quirky to completely bonkers. Christina Negra played Lindsay Selkirk, Evie's boy-crazy best friend, who somehow never noticed her BFF could freeze time and make objects appear out of thin air,
despite countless close calls. Either she was the least observant friend in TV history, or Evie's powers also included making people forget really obvious supernatural events. Steve Burton played Chris Fuller, Evie's on-again, off-again boyfriend, who worked at the deeply unappetizing-sounding fast food place Chicken in a Basket, a name that sounds less like a restaurant and more like something you'd yell if you dropped a rotisserie chicken on your way to the car.
All right, now it's time to dive into the gloriously weird, logic-defying world of Out of This World's most memorable episodes. These are the kinds of plots that only make sense if you grew up watching TV shows where gleeping was a perfectly normal word, and where 4 seasons felt like a reasonable commitment to a show about a half-alien teenager. First up, Season 1, Episode 10, Baby Talk, where Evie gets her first babysitting job and accidentally gleeps baby Neil the ability to talk. Because if there's one thing every new parent wants, it's their baby suddenly telling jokes like a tiny stand-up comic. Imagine changing a diaper while a 6-month-old roasts your parenting skills.
I wish you could just tell me what's wrong with you.
That strained spinach my mother fed me. Gives me cramps every time.
Luckily, Troy, came to the rescue and everything worked out fine. Which, come to think of it, is the basic plot of every episode that isn't the series finale. But we'll get to that train wreck later. Next up is Season 2, Episode 17, where Evie, Lindsay, and Chris rebel against their new school uniforms. Evie was supposed to give a speech at the school board meeting, but also wanted to go to a birthday party the same night. Her solution? She split into 2 versions of herself.
This amazing bit of TV magic used the classic split-screen trick and a stand-in filmed from behind. You know, high-tech wizardry if your tools were just a pair of safety scissors and a glue stick. And now for the infamous series finale cliffhanger. The I can't believe they ended it like this moment. After 4 seasons of adventures, the show ended with Troy finally returning to Earth, but only for 4 hours, and only as a silhouette because of a teleportation glitch. Because of your cutting costs, why not save a few bucks by not bringing in the world's biggest star for a guest spot? Can you imagine what that would have cost? When his time is up, Troy gasps his interplanetary transport booster to return to Antares, but Donna accidentally beams herself up to the alien planet instead, leaving Troy stuck on Earth. Donna trapped on Antares, and roll credits. That's it. Series over. No resolution, no closure at all. To be fair, this wasn't the writer's fault. Like many shows of that era, Out of This World fell victim to sudden cancellations, leaving generations of viewers with a cosmic to be continued that never got continued. Remember, this was before Twitter campaigns could save your favorite shows. Once a network pulled the plug, that was it. Talk about 80s TV heartbreak. It's right up there with the Twin Peaks finale and every show that got yanked off the air too soon. At least David Lynch got a revival. Out of This World? Not so much.
Now that we're done scratching our heads at those wacky plot lines, let's talk about the show's earworm of a theme song. Because nothing says low-budget alien sitcom like reusing a classic Hollywood tune. Out of This World used a modified version of Swingin' on a Star, which won an Oscar for Best Original Song in 1944, when Bing Crosby sang it in Going My Way.
Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar.
For the show's theme, they jazzed up the melody and kept some lyrics while changing others to fit the alien story. Would you rather go to Earth? Replaced the original line, would you rather be a mule or a pig or a fish? A change that probably had songwriter Johnny Burke spinning in his grave.
The opening sequence showed snippets of how Evie's parents met, with Troy's face always hidden, partly to keep the mystery and partly because they never actually cast an actor to play him. You could have Burt Reynolds' voice or show his face. Pick one, and guess which option was cheaper. Ironically, this catchy, borrowed tune is probably why you won't find the show streaming anywhere today. Getting the music rights would cost more than what studios expect to make from releasing it, so it's just another cosmic joke in the Out of This World saga. Now let's dig into some lesser-known trivia that even the most dedicated fans might have forgotten.
or possibly blocked out for their own sanity. The fictional town of Marlow, where the show took place, was supposed to be near Carmel in Monterey, California, though it was never actually filmed there. Instead, it was shot on cheap sets that looked about as much like the California coast as a painted backdrop in a middle school play. When Evie got her time-stopping powers, the writers made a convenient rule. Whenever she used them for personal gain, her dad would ground her by temporarily disabling them. A handy way to save on special effects while sneaking in a moral lesson. Because if there's one thing 80s kids loved, it was learning life lessons from a glowing cube. Evie eventually gained the power to teleport, a new ability probably added to keep the show fresh, or at least distract from the fact that the writers had already run out of ideas for time-stopping shenanigans.
We've frozen every possible scenario, so what if she could also just disappear? Now, after spending all this time with our favorite half-alien family, you might be wondering what happened to this talented cast once the final laugh track faded out. Well, Maureen Flannigan kept acting after the show ended. She appeared on series like Seventh Heaven, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and eventually moved into documentary filmmaking, a job that probably comes with fewer awkward freeze-frame effects. Donna Pescow continued her TV career with roles on shows like Even Stevens, where she played Eileen Stevens, another TV mom, and The Sopranos. From disco dancing in Saturday Night Fever to hiding behind potted plants while pregnant on a sci-fi sitcom, that's what we call range, people. Joe Alasky, who played Uncle Beano, went on to become one of the most respected voice actors in the business, taking over iconic characters like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Tweety Bird after Mel Blanc passed away. It turns out trading pratfalls for pitch-perfect impressions worked out pretty well for him. From saying, "What's up, Doc?"
What's up?
To I taught Putty Cat.
I taught, Putty Cat, a creep on the...
Alasky found his true calling, bringing cartoon legends to life. Doug McClure kept acting right up until he passed away in 1995. One of his final roles was a cameo in the 1994 hit Maverick, a fitting nod to his Western roots. As for the voice of Troy, Burt Reynolds kept reinventing himself in movies like Boogie Nights and The Longest Yard remake. He passed away in 2018, leaving behind a legacy that included some of the coolest car chases in movie history, and, for better or worse, 4 seasons of intergalactic dad advice from inside a light-up paperweight. And that's it, fellow time travelers. Drop your favorite out-of-this-world moment in the comments because we can't wait to hear from you. While you're at it, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.